Good afternoon. I'd like to welcome you to the meeting of the Nantucket Memorial Airport Commission for September 12th, 2017. This meeting is being both audio and video recorded. Are there any comments on the agenda? Hearing none, it is adopted. You have the draft minutes of the commission meeting of August 8th, 2017. Are there any additions or corrections?
Move approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Approved unanimously. We have executive session minutes for September 24th, 2013, October 8th, 2013, November 12th, 2013, December 10th, 2013, April 22nd, 2014, November 25th, 2014, February 24th, 2015, March 10th, 2015, July 14th, 2015, October 13th, 2015, November 10th, 2015, January 12th, 2016, January 19th, 2016, April 19th, 2016, May 9th, 2016, June 10th, 2016, July 12th, 2016, August 9th, 2016, October 11th, 2016, November 8th, 2016, February 14th, 2017, March 14th, 2017, and April 20th, 2017. They have all been approved for release in executive session. May I have a motion to ratify and confirm those minutes, please, as enumerated?
Make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. May I have a motion to ratify the warrants of August 9th, 2017 and August 23rd, 2017? And
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And opposed? Carried unanimously. And may I have a motion to approve the warrant of September 13th, 2017?
Make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any comment? All those in favor say aye, please.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. Pending leases and contracts. We have Mr. Rafter, would you want to run through them?
Sure. The first is a contract with Sullivan Tire for $26,866, and that is for the purchase of tires for our front-end loader and our fire truck. That's out of our capital budget. The next is a contract amendment with Hortonville Consulting for $6,000, and that's an amendment to the fire training consultant that we have to accommodate costs associated with the drill that we have tomorrow for controllers and evaluators. Then we have a number of contracts, the contract with McFarland Johnson for the AIP projects, and it'll be according to the task order and proposal. The cost will be associated with each as we go. The first one that we have today is for $8,450 for spill prevention and control countermeasures plan update. The next is $94,000 for the ALP or geometry narrative that the FAA required, and that will be an FAA-funded grant as well. And also a $2,650 one for a rare plant survey work that was required.
Are there any comments or questions? I will entertain a motion to approve the 6 contracts and contract amendment listed.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr.
I'll
Buscaglia.
second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Carried unanimously. All right, moving along. Is there public comment at this time? Yes, sir.
Oh, Dan, if I may, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, just hang on a second. Don't sit down. Just hang on.
I forgot, I'd also like to request the commission authorize the airport manager to approve task orders for engineering services up to $10,000, similar to what we did with the change order process on the control tower.
And you have a handout in front of you to that effect. This is to expedite the process, correct?
Yes.
Are there any comments or questions?
Make a motion to adopt the policy for addressing engineering task orders up to $10,000 by the airport manager.
Second?
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Doctor. Go ahead.
Howard Dickler. My family visits mostly in the summertime, and they mostly come by air. And I'd like to report that the process, particularly boarding outbound flights, was much smoother this summer than it was the previous summer. Much less chaos, much better direction, much better signage. So I'd like to say thank you to the airport management and staff.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Yeah, anything else? Pending matters, Mr. Rafter, the general fund repayment proposal?
We're still working with the town to try to get some more detail regarding the FAA's response and request for information. We should be wrapping that up shortly, though. And on the Brookfield assets, we're asking for ratification and notice of lease. The attorneys have approved it. They've finalized the documents, but I believe that's going to require a vote. And on the crew quarters development, we have submitted a non-aeronautical land use release request to the FAA, and we'll wait their approval for that.
All right, we need to take a vote to ratify, correct, Ms. Torres? To ratify the Brookfield Asset Bridgetown LLC notice of lease as an estoppel certificate, which we all signed last week. Is there such a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Buscarin. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Further, any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried unanimously. T-hangers, Mr. Rafter.
I just want to bring the commission up to speed on the T-hanger discussions that have taken place. We currently have a lease with Aerodrome Nantucket that expires November 30th, 2018. That's after an initial term of 20 years with a 10-year extension. And we've received 2 expressions of interest, one from the current operator and also a second from a group of T-hanger tenants that I believe is forming an organization and would like to eventually present to the commission a proposal for operation. So I just wanted to make sure.
Are these the 2 organizations?
One, yes.
The Aerodrome is,
Aerodrome
Nantucket
is
is
the current
tenant,
operator,
right?
Ms. Boyle. And the second is a T-hanger, a group of T-hanger tenants. I believe they're calling it North Ramp ACK LLC.
So
And in your packet are the 2 letters of expression of interest, I believe.
are there any questions on those letters or in the process going forward?
I believe what we're going to have is further detail on exactly what the proposal would be from the T-hanger tenants, and we would also ask Ms. Boyle to submit what her proposal is in terms of the actual agreement and how it would be structured.
More to come.
So, yeah, good news is we have a little bit of time on that. So I just want to make everybody aware of it.
So you said 2018? It was...
Correct.
Thank you.
November 30th.
Any other questions? Air service update?
I don't know if there's some folks in attendance. I'm not sure if they want to address the commission or not on that subject.
On the T-hanger
On the
subject?
T-hangers, yes. I know there's some people here.
Anybody?
That's fine.
All right,
Okay.
thank you. You'll have another chance, I think. Mass DOT letter of authorization for grant signing.
Just quickly, Dan, on the air service update.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
United American and Delta have ended their seasonal service. JetBlue will continue flying limited schedule through October 27th, and staff is currently working on creating a formal air service development program. So I just want to make everybody aware of that.
All right.
Can we get JetBlue to What destination?
New York predominantly, but also limited, I think, to Boston.
Boston.
Boston usually stops a week or two before that.
I'm sorry, what date did you say? September 27th?
October
October 27th.
27th.
Yeah, I think Boston's done before Columbus Day or
Yeah.
around Columbus Day. All right. The letter of authorization for grant signing. Do we have that in the?
This is an annual
Yeah.
requirement to allow you to sign the grants for the state.
I'd make a motion to endorse the letter of authorization.
Second?
Is there discussion? All those in favor of the endorsement of the letter of the authorization authorizing me as chairman, or in my absence, Mr. Gasparo as vice chair, to sign on behalf of the entire commission on federal or state contracts, grants, and other agreements totaling $50,000 or more pertaining to projects previously approved by the entire commission. That's to save everybody's carpal tunnel.
Give it to you.
Give it to me. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously, with the chair reluctantly voting aye. Don't put that in the minutes, please. All right, Mr. Rafter, the financial
Well,
report.
before that, following up right behind it, we have 2 Mass DOT grants that are pending, but we anticipate them to be in any day. AIP number 66 and AIP 67. The first is for the ALP update and geometry study, and the next is for ramp area 3. I'd like to ask the commission to give authorization to the chair to sign those grants when they do come in, so that we don't have to wait another month before getting that
Is
accomplished.
there any objection to that? May I'll entertain a motion to approve the pending grants, subject to their receipt, for AIP number 66 and AIP number 67.
Make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried unanimously. All right, now we're up to finance.
On the financial side, I'll be presenting to the Board of Selectmen tomorrow night the preliminary FY17 year-end results. The revenues came in at about $1.2 million over budget and about $200,000 better than last year's actuals. The expenses were about $1.3 million below budget and just slightly below last year's actual. The earnings before transfers from retained earnings, $1.285 million. With retained earnings applied, it was $2.4 million. Certified retained earnings at June 30th, 16 were $1,620,000, and after the use of retained earnings, PFC reserve, and other ins and outs, the estimated fund balance at the end of June for 17 is projected to be about $2.19 million. So essentially, we're about $600,000 better than last year. You can see it's related primarily to the transfer or reduction of the cap in the fuel revolver and getting more of that fuel money up into the operating sooner, as well as transferring some retained earnings money in there. So the net is we're still above last year by, like I say, about $500,000 or $600,000.
Any questions?
Also,
I'd like to
Good
keep it up. I
news.
hope we can.
on the other financial aspect, the capital requests, I met with the town manager last Thursday, reviewed our requests. They're in your packet. The projects that are in there, the airfield lighting, centerline touchdown zone light replacements with LED fixtures. That will save us some money on the energy costs. They're beyond their useful life, and because of certain new requirements from FAA, there's a number of issues with them, so we're looking to replace those fixtures. We have put in there taxiway echo, mill, and rehabilitate, including the run-up pads. It may just be a placeholder right now until we have our meeting within the next month or so with FAA on our capital improvement plan. It's going to require a significant amount of discretionary funding, so if the FAA can't fund it this year, they'll tell us when to put it in subsequent years when they think they can get discretionary funding available. So we're putting it in to get it on the radar. If we can move forward with it, if they have discretionary, we'll keep that on the list. We also have a ground service equipment garage. It's a very high number that's in there. We're working with other town departments to get better information and estimates. Our engineers have a range between $1.7 and $2.4 million, which we think is very excessive. It should be, I believe, closer to $1 million range or less. So I just wanted to let you know that the price that's in there is high, but we wanted to get the place mark in for it. Also in there is a temporary hold room
I mean,
expansion.
excuse me, I think it might be worth mentioning that one of the reasons for doing this at all is that some of this equipment is exposed to the weather,
Yes, quite a bit of it.
and it will extend its life, hopefully considerably, to have it inside.
It certainly does. We've purchased new tugs that are out there. We have buses that are out in the elements. When the DPW director toured our facility about a month or so ago, he was very pleased to see our equipment inside and was hoping to get the same for his because it does significantly extend the useful life of the equipment. The fourth project that we have is a temporary hold room expansion, also known as a structured awning. That's to address the overcrowding in the hold room area. We then have automatic door replacements, and we're going to be doing that in phases. There's about 22 systems within the building, and we're looking at replacing 5 or 6 of those in this phase. Next is the paint and bead and paint removal, which, as you may recall, in prior years, the state would fund a major portion of that, but now we have to do that. And the last is a security vehicle, which is essentially a carryover from last year. We had 2 vehicles in. This is, right now, the security patrols are shared with the trash removal truck, so we're going to get the security group a dedicated pickup truck. And what we're looking to do, excuse me, the temporary hold room expansion or structured awning, we want to get that moving as soon as possible so that we can have it ready and available for next season. So that may require us to fund some of that out of our operating and then transfer some of the money at the end of the year from another account.
Be more to come on that, right?
Yes.
I had a couple questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Samaro.
What do the abbreviations under the EE category mean?
I have to, let me pull that up.
JG, PH?
Oh, they're the people that are assigned.
Oh, okay, I just haven't seen that
Johnny
before.
Grade, Preston.
Oh, okay, I just
John
didn't
Murphy, yeah.
understand what the EE.
I'm sorry, yeah.
And then what size building are you thinking about there
For the
for?
ground, 3,200 square feet. They did an analysis, they listed all of our equipment and came up with the need of 3,200 square feet.
And I guess the only other thing I would say on this list that is, on the lower part, we break out, what the airport share is. But by project, it's hard to tell which are going to be AIP projects. In
Okay.
other words, oh, I see on
Yeah,
the
the-
Like just
side,
the
so the
first two
infra,
are-
all of the
first two, yes,
infrastructure,
are all
okay, I see
our
the
own
difference
money,
there.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments on this capital plan? Yeah, I think it's very important to get that temporary hold room done by next summer, so we'll have to try to figure out how to,
Yeah, that was a major topic of discussion at the last tenant meeting. I believe Commissioner Topham was there, and all of the airlines expressed some significant concern with that, so the sooner we can get that done, the better.
having been in it a couple of times this summer when it was fully utilized and then some, it's not terribly pleasant.
And why would the paint beads and rubber and all that, why would that not be AIP?
It's considered maintenance by FAA.
Oh, gotcha.
It's a big maintenance, so
Yeah.
it's a lot of money.
It's required,
Yeah.
but
And the PA system's coming in next month, correct, for that area?
Hopefully by the end of November, actually.
Oh, November,
That portion
okay.
of it, yes.
That's desperately needed.
We have a temporary one in there that the airline suggested we purchase, which we did,
Right.
and that's a little better, but the new system should be in by the end of November, hopefully.
Thank you.
All right. Your report, please, Mr. Rafter.
On the project side of the house, the vault replacement, third-party testing has been completed, and Jacobs is going to be working with the contractor Cobo to establish a resolution to the issues that we've had with the new system. The interactive employee training is just about complete. The final module was approved internally, and AAA is finalizing that. That's Part 139 for internal use. As I just told Commissioner Totten, the FIDS PA project, the public address system, should be complete by the end of November. Ramp Area 3 work began today. FAA has expressed some concerns with our construction safety phasing plan, so we're adding some emphasis to that. We had it rewritten. We believe we've addressed all their concerns, and that should move forward without any issues, although we are concerned that because of a little bit later start, the project was designed in 2 phases. If the weather's not cooperative, rather than start the second phase and have a big gaping hole essentially for 6 or 8 months, we may elect to stop the project and bring the contractor back in the spring to complete it before the beginning of next season. On the geometry issue, McFarland Johnson is working on design of that. That was just approved, the task order. We discussed the GSE garage, the restaurant enclosure. We have a price for that, and they have concepts, or they're working on design. Actually, they wanted to come out tomorrow to look at it, and told them we were a little busy tomorrow, so they're going to come out Thursday. And on the
What are we talking about in terms of costs there?
$125,000, and we have, I think, 65 already appropriated, so we're going to be transferring some of that, and that's the estimate right now, so we have to see what it comes in at. And the parking equipment, we're expecting the delivery of the enclosures by the end of this month, which will then allow them to put in their intercom system and cameras. On the RFP side of the house, we've received approval for Bunker Road, Sun Island, and should be advertising those next week. We're going to be looking at engaging a consultant to develop the RFP for the restaurant. We're working on an RFP possibly for Hangar 5. We may just proceed with doing that work ourselves. And fuel farm lighting bids, they're out for the 3rd time and due in September 21st for bids. On the operational side,
Refresh our recollection of why we're doing this for a 3rd time.
well, the first time they came in too high, so we had, I think, 4 light poles, so we redesigned it to do 2 because that's what we could afford. And then there was an error apparently in the process on the second one, so now we're out for the 3rd time.
Okay. Thank you.
On the operations side, last Wednesday, we had a significant lightning strike at the airport, took out a number of taxiway lights. We did an emergency purchase and purchased a number of taxiway lights. Johnny and the crews replaced them, and we're back up and running. But that was a significant hit to us, and that will be a insurance claim. The Labor Day sales results were up 22% over last year, with the number of gallons pumped up 19%, so that more than offsets the decrease that we saw in 4th of July. Just a reminder, our full-scale emergency exercise will be held tomorrow. You will most likely receive a notification. There's no need to respond. If you do want to respond and be an observer, you're welcome to. You can either report to the FBO or to the SRE. That's where everybody's going to be reporting at 7 o'clock in the morning for volunteers and workers and things. Just 2 other dates to remember. November 6th is special town meeting, and April 3rd of 18 is the annual town meeting. And there's a timeline in your packet for that. Also want to mention one other item on the operations update. We met with the TSA regarding TSA pre-check, and they ran some numbers and were very surprised that a very high percentage of our clientele during peak period are already enrolled in TSA pre-check. So we're going to brief the tenants at the next tenant meeting and work with TSA to hopefully have that in place possibly by Daffodil for next year. They believe that that should be something they can accomplish. So that'll be a big plus on the service side. It's a catch-22 where we're putting more people into the hold room faster that's already crowded, but that's why it goes hand in glove with the structured awning or temporary hold room expansion, so.
They don't make it easy for Nantucketers to do it because you have to go off on certain days. You can't get pre-screened.
Well, that's, if we have this, it'll be a dedicated TSA pre-check line.
No, she means to get
Ready
the,
to get it.
Oh, to get the- to get
enroll in
enrolled in
pre-check.
it, yes,
Yeah,
you're
it's
right.
very limited on what you can get
It's like anything else here.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's on the mainland, but who's going to get on the mainland?
So they're gonna run, they're gonna have 2 lines all the time?
Well, my understanding is we'd have 2 queue lines, one for pre-check, one for non-pre-check. The 2 lanes, one would have to be dedicated to pre-check and can't be interchangeable with the other. On occasion, they said they might be able to do it, but what it does is it gives them additional employees that will help process the other lane quicker. So that's why we're going to run it as a test type thing and see how it works.
So they'll get funding for more employees by
Yes.
having a pre-check line?
But the amount of, during a peak push, a peak hour, we were processing about 300-plus passengers, and between 130 and 150 were already enrolled in pre-check. So that's a significant amount, almost 50% of what we're processing. And that's what they said it should be an easy thing for them to accomplish.
But probably just in season then, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
just seasonal and certain, it'd only be certain hours of the day and things too, so.
And at our tenant meeting, we got complaints because they only had one line opened. And so then it was suggested that they get more employees to work to get the 2 lines because people were saying that they were so close to missing their planes.
So the benefit to this would be, once the TSA pre-check is done, they can reassign those personnel over to the other line. It helps them with their full-time equivalent personnel staffing. Okay, on to the statistics.
Please.
So the operations are down again, 12.1% for the month. And everything here is also year-to-date since it's the first month of the fiscal year. The employments are down 4%. Cape Air, Delta, Nantucket Air, American all saw decreases, with JetBlue and United seeing increases in employments over last July. In the Boston market, both Cape Air and JetBlue saw a decrease. And then in Washington National Market, American experienced a 5% loss, while JetBlue saw a 37% increase. The net market was an increase of 202 enplanements. New Bedford traffic decreased by 20%, for a total of 208 passengers, I believe it was. And Newark was an increase, with United enplanements up 13%, or 256 enplanements. Cape Air White Plains traffic was down 51%, or 199 passengers. The Hyannis market saw a total decrease of 407 passengers, with Cape Air down 75%, Nantucket Air down 49%, and Retrix carrying 815. New York JFK traffic increased by 286 enplanements. JetBlue was up 10, Delta down by 25. LaGuardia traffic saw a slight decrease, 19 passengers, with American down 9% and Delta up 12. So you're starting to see some shifts from one airline to another in some of these markets. The Vineyard saw a decrease of 138 passengers, and we added a chart to kind of show you the market here and give you a sense of the size of the different markets. You can clearly see that New York Kennedy is our largest market, followed by Boston, and then Washington National for July. We're going to try to include this each month so that we can see this over a 12-month period. Again, this is a snapshot 1 month, and it's during the season. On the fuel sales,
Have we, just curious about the White Plains, do we track trade winds?
we don't have it.
Should we? I mean, it'd be interesting to know whether they're,
Yes, actually, if you go back, Dave, I think Tradewinds is in that other, aren't they in the,
Oh, they're not on the destination cities or anything.
keep.
No, but that one chart you have in Plainman's. if you
Yeah,
roll
that
back
would,
to
that was all
Plainman's,
pretty much White Plains. Some of it may be, I guess,
Right after your
Peterborough.
employment one, I think it had trade winds in there.
Tradewind, yes.
Why
Right
would we
there,
not have-
trade
why would-
winds,
Why would we not
flat.
have them in there?
I'm sorry?
Why would we not have them in there?
They're technically not operating out of the terminal, so they report differently.
Okay? We got a lot, there were 3 or 4 airplanes out there, they got that tent, they got a lot of business there.
Yeah, they're not, and don't quote me on these definitions because we're in the middle of a legal issue with this, but
Right.
they're not a scheduled air carrier. They're a scheduled on-demand 135 operator.
Yeah, we can't mix apples and oranges, unfortunately, although it would be interesting to be
Well,
able
that's,
to.
in that first chart there,
Yeah.
we show it, and they're flat basically for July. On the fuel sales, Jet A gallons for July were down 4.4%. And for August, they're up 5.4%. The avgas was down 25% for the month of July and also down 14% in August. The freight is up 1.9% over last July, with the mail up 31%. So you can see a significant jump in United States Postal Service, which is interesting. And on the noise, we have the same number of complaints as last year at 25, with a detailed explanation attached there. If you want, I can go through all of them.
No, I don't think it's necessary unless somebody wants to focus on any of them particularly. I think it's great that Mr. Carver continues to follow up on all of them.
They have very good response rate and tracking capabilities too, so.
All right,
That's my
any
report.
questions on statistics or anything that's gone before? You have a personnel report?
Oh, I apologize. I'm so sorry. I'd like to introduce Katie Perales, who is our new administrative assistant, just joined our team and is doing a tremendous job picking things up quickly.
Welcome.
This is your first real test. Well, welcome. Are there any commissioners' comments?
No?
Mr. Gasparo? Go any? Ms. Planzer? No? I have asked for 2 reports, which I've seen and have, I don't know if they've been sent out to you yet or not. But one of them is a report of GA operations. It's very specific to compare periods. And I think it's helpful because it's become an increasingly large part of our business. And if you have any comments or how you think it could be refined, they would be very helpful. The second report is one that Deb Crooks has been preparing for Mr. Rafter for some time now, which is a summary of the holiday weekends throughout the year, in comparisons year over year, for going back, I guess, about 6 years now. And it is interesting. I mean, the one thing that throws it off a little bit is the variations in fuel revenue, because it shows fuel revenue for those weekends. What it didn't show was price per gallon. And I've asked that be added, and it has been at least for the last couple of years. So going forward, it'll again help in providing a perspective.
I
think.
haven't sent them out yet. We'll get them out to the commission.
Okay, great. Thank you. Is there a public comment at this time? Then I would entertain a motion to go into executive session, not to return, to, under Chapter 30A, Section 21A, to review executive session minutes as enumerated on the agenda. Under Clause 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining. The chair has determined that an open session may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the Airport Commission. And under Clause 3, to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation related to the SRE snowblower. The chair has again determined that an open session may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the Airport Commission. And under Clause 3, to discuss strategy with respect to pending litigation related to FAA Part 13 complaint. the chair has determined that an open session may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the Airport Commission. Is there such a motion?
Make that motion?
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Sorry, Mr. Buscarin. How do you
Aye.
vote? Ms. Top, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mrs. Planzer, how do you vote?
Aye.
Mr. Gasparo, how do you vote? And the chair votes aye.